All right, let's open up with a prayer. All brothers remove their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east towards Jerusalem, where our temple was and where our temple in Hamashiach shall return. Abba Father, Yahweh, Elohim, the Allah of Abraham, Yashak, and Yaakov. Covenant Father, Elohim of Yasharah. We thank you once again, Yah, for bringing us through the week, for keeping us in your hedge of protection. And Yah, we apologize to you wholeheartedly, Yah, for our transgressions that we've done throughout the week. And we ask that you be patient with us, Yah, and show us the error in our ways, Yah, so we can consciously make an effort to do the things that glorify you and not the things that are of man, Yah, that are of the flesh. Yah, we come before you, Yah. We humbly ask that you allow your angel to sit to the door and knock, to come in and sup with us and us with him, so we can keep your Kodesh Mikra, Yah. We could honor your as you have commanded us, Yah. And Yah, as we open up these scriptures, Yah, we are diving into your holy calendar system, Yah, and we understand that we know in part and we prophesy in part, Yah, and we ask for your guidance, Yah, for we want to learn these things, Yah, so that we can let it be done on earth as it is in heaven, Yah, showing the world that you are the one true Elohim and we are your servants, Yah. So we ask that you guide us, Yah, that any errors or mistakes that we make, Yah, you charge it not to us, but to a lack of understanding, Yah, and gently push us in the right direction and provide us servants to help support what we're looking for so that we can glorify you on the set apart days that you put forth, Yah. And Yah, we ask you this humbly, Yah, for we are not worthy. We make no demands. We make full supplication. And we ask this, Yah, not only for us, but all your children that are spread across the four corners of the earth that look to show you this sign of obedience, Yah, and look to show you in their other 6 days of walk during the week, Yah, that they are your servants and that they are governed by your law and your righteousness, Yah. These things we thank and pray through your holy, humble, anointed Son, Yahshua HaMashiach. Amen. All right, give us 1 second, family. We're going to get started shortly. We have a special class for you today. All right. Shabbat Shalom. My name is Yadon Yasharal. My brother Wesley Yasharal. Shabbat Shalom. And we are Savior Word of Yah. The elders are taking a week off. We will be doing the class today, this week. And the title of today's Shabbat study is The Division of Months and Years. We know that we are in ending January of the Gregorian calendar, which is their first day of the year. First month of the year, but we know that that's not the beginning of the year. We understand Abib is the beginning of the year. Spring, when the day springs forward, that's when our year starts. I'm a little bit behind. I usually like to try to do the calendars before January so that we can, have all the months mapped out and have all the holy days. So today, this class, we're going to go into how do we calculate the new months and the beginning of the year. How do we know where we are and how do we calculate the holy days? And that's something that a lot of assemblies won't teach because they have little committees that get the stuff together and then they just give it to everybody. And you got to go to them to get the information or else you just left out. And then some people, some assemblies, they don't even know how to calculate the months and the years and the holy days. They just go by the Jewish calendar and say, oh, this is what the Jewish people do, and that's what we're going to do. And then you have other people that they just do what everybody else is doing. But we are the leaders. We are the Hebrew nation. We have to understand these things because we are the brothers and sisters that eyes are open before the rest of our nation. So we have to understand. We have to get ready to enter into the land and to start pushing forward the culture of the Most High to the rest of the world. But we can't do that if we don't understand that. And of course, like in the opening prayer, we know in part, we prophesy in part. There's some questions that we just don't have the information. So does that mean that we're just going to be paralyzed and stop and we don't do anything? No, we're going to do the best we can with the information we have. And if we find out that something is inaccurate or incorrect, then we fix it. We repent. There is no condemnation in Mashiach, in Christ. So if you're doing the best that you can according to the information that you have, even if you're wrong, it will be accepted of the Most High. Because that's the best that you can do. That's what the greatest commandment is, to love Yah with all your heart, all your strength, all your mind, everything, all your ability. That's the number one commandment. So if Yah wants you to be accurate, he's going to give you that information. Now, some, he might give it early, others, he might give it later. But one way or another, it's going to be presented to everybody. And you can fight against it all you want, or you can work with it. But at the end of the day, every tongue shall confess that every knee shall bow. So we're going to open up in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1. And we're just going to read 14 through 19. And we're going to look at, we want to take a look at what the servants in the sky are for, what the luminaries are for. They're not to be worshipped. They're signs. The clock and calendar is in the sky. It's in the sky for us to see. Let it be done on earth as it is in Shama, heaven, or the heavens, Shamaim. So we're going to open up in Bereshit chapter 1, and we're going to read verses 14 through 19. And then as we get into it, that's why we have the TV set up. We're going to show the display so everybody can keep up. We're going to get in the calendar. So if you have a calendar, take a moment to go get your 2020 calendar, your Gregorian calendar, because we're going to be calculating the new months and the years, the holy days. So you're going to need a calendar to count days. We're going to teach you how to count days so that you can arrive to your calendar, so that if something happens and Savior Word of Yah gets shut down for whatever reason, or the internet gets cut off, and you still need to be able to calculate your holy days so that you can worship Father through the Word, through the Son, then you can count. You can figure this out, or where you're at in the year, and you can be able to congregate with the people that are with you to worship Yah on the days that he set forth. And Shabbat Shalom, Stephanie Hicks. Shabbat Shalom, Frida Cole. Shabbat Shalom, Tamika Wilson. Shabbat Shalom, Ariel Smith. And Shabbat Shalom, Yahanaya Yasharala. Good to see y'all, sis. And and Shabbat Shalom, brother Yehuda Yasharal. Good to see y'all, family. And Shabbat Shalom to the YouTube viewers as well.
Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 1 and verse 14.
I'll start at verse 13.
In verse 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day.
All right, so I just read that to show that there were 3 days prior to where we're at right now. So now we're in Bereshit chapter 14, and we're about to get into the 4th day. Keep that in mind, the 4th day. Go ahead.
And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
All right. So he said, let there be lights in Shamayim to divide the day from the night. So what divides the day from the night? Anybody? Is it the moon? Does the moon divide the day from the night? You think the moon divides the day from the night, brother?
It says here, lights.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those lights?
The moon is not a light. The moon is a reflector. And furthermore, the moon, the presence of the moon, does that let you know it's day? Or does that let you know it's night?
Usually, but sometimes
It
moon's
can.
out during the day too.
Exactly. There you go. Sometimes, see, that was the key. Sometimes the light, the moon, can be in the daytime or the nighttime. So the moon cannot be the division between the day and the night, because the moon is up in the daytime. It's up in the nighttime. So how are you going to know it's there? But what is not there in the daytime?
The stars.
Stars is definitely not there in the daytime. And the sun is definitely not there at the nighttime. And what they call the sun, they say the sun is a star. Scientifically, that's what they say. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the point is, the moon is not giving you an indication of that it's there in the day, that it's daytime because you see a moon, or it's nighttime because you see a moon, because it's there both times. So that can't be it. But the sun is a division of a day and night. Because when you see the sun, if the sun is out, then you know you're in the daytime portion of the calendar day. If the sun is absolutely gone and there's no light, then you know you're not in the daytime. You're in the nighttime portion. So that is what those lights in the sky was to give you. The stars, when you see the stars, then you know it's nighttime. So when you're trying to keep your Shabbat, and you're trying to say, oh, I got to rush before the Shabbat begins. Once you see them stars in the sky, it is now Shabbat Shalom. You are now in peace. You're not permitted to work. You're to rest. But when you see the day, you see the sun out, then you know you're in the daytime portion. It's a work period. You can work as long as it's not the Shabbat. Absolutely no, because the moon is out during the day. That's right, Sis Tamika. And the stars, thank you, Ariel Smith. Absolutely, the stars is an indication that it is nighttime. So it's like a trick question. That's why Brother Wesley had to be like, well, sometimes. And now YAH is not going to give you a sometimes. He's going to give you a yay or nay. Let your word be yay or nay. Is it day or is it night? Yay or nay? Well, it's sometimes because the moon. No, that's not YAH. That's not Hebrew culture. That's Greek culture. Sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't.
And Elohim said, let the Genesis chapter 1.
I'm sorry. Let me finish the rest of that.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, brother. So let there be lights to divide the day from the night, and the lights, let them be for signs. So it's a sign of something, for seasons, and for days and years. That's what those lights are for. Now again, the moon is not a light. The moon has light reflected onto it. It does not give off light. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the Shamayim to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
All right, so when you look at the Hebrew on this one, this is what I've come to understand about that. When we look at verse 15, it says, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give lights on the earth. Verse 16, and Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And then it says, he made the stars also. But this is added. This was added. When you look at the Hebrew, it would have just said the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. Kabab, stars. That's it. It didn't say he made stars also. They added that in there. So it should have said a greater light to rule the day, which we know is the sun, and a lesser light to rule the night. Stars. Because stars rule the night. That's how you know it's night. So they're adding this to make you believe that the moon is this lesser light. No, it's not a light. The moon is a reflector. If I take on these lights that we have that you can't see off camera that are shining towards us, they have reflectors. There is a big box lights that's shining on us, and the bulbs are going out this way, and in the inside there's foil looking material that's reflecting the light. But if we cut those light bulbs off, that foil is not reflecting anything. If there's no light, if it's pitch black in here and we cut off those lights, it's not reflecting anything. It's a reflector. That's what the moon is. So I wouldn't dare call the reflection material that's reflecting the bulb, I wouldn't call that a light. That's a reflector.
And Elohim, verse 17, and Elohim set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
All right. So, and to rule over the day and the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. Evening and the morning were the fourth day. So, here's some important things that we have to take away from this. You had 3 days prior to the lights in the heaven that was for signs for our days, nights, seasons, years, so forth and so on. So that is what that is for. That was now given and created so that we could now determine time, determine a calendar. But it didn't say that this is now day 1 during the week. It's still saying that it's the 4th day. But to divide on verse 14, for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, this could not, the signs weren't given to us yet to start dividing these things yet. So on the 4th day, this is now given to us. So this is why our calendar starts on the 4th weekly day of the year. And if you look at the Qumran calendar, which is the ancient calendar that was found with the Dead Sea Scrolls, is the oldest calendar that we have. Those calendars always started on the 4th day of the week. The new year always started on the 4th day of the week because it's consistent with Genesis. The signs to give us when our calendar starts is not given until the 4th day. So that's why our calendar system will always start on a Tuesday night, because you have Saturday night begins the 1st day. Sunday night begins the 2nd day. Monday night begins the 3rd day. Tuesday night begins the 4th day. So this is why the ancient calendars would start. Now, we call it a Tuesday in Gregorian calendar, but it's really just the 4th day. Now you have some people that start their calendar system on Sunday night. Excuse me, Saturday night, being that Sunday is the first day of the year. But that's not consistent with here, because it's telling you right here, day 1 was when they created light. And then day 7 is the day that he rested. It didn't say it started over on the 4th day. The next day after that was the 2nd day. No, it went to the 5th day, then the 6th day, then the 7th day. So the week was not disturbed. It's just when the calendar started when he gave us the signs to start calculating those days. All right, so let's move on. We'll get more proof. We're going to prove all this stuff. Let's go to Jubilees chapter 1. Yobelum chapter 1. And if you do not have access to Jubilees, then you can always go to IsraelitesGathering.com, and we have access to all these books. And in Jubilees, we're going to see Moshe receive the division of days. He's going to be given how the days are changed and how the calendar works. It's going to be given unto him. And of course, if anybody has an understanding of the Enoch calendar or how the calendar works, or you have another teacher or an elder or anybody that knows or claims to know how to calculate the calendar system, and they're telling you something different than us, tell them to contact us or give us their information. We will contact them. This is the best information that we have, and we're able to debunk a lot of things that we used to do earlier in our walk, but we're not claiming to know everything. So if they can set forth their evidence and prove a more accurate way, our ears are open, our eyes are open. We want to see this. But just from my experience and the different brothers, and I've had a big calendar convention. We had hundreds of brothers to come together, and we try to figure this out. And this is the best that we could get as far as all the information. And to this day, it still cannot be debunked. But that doesn't mean that there's not somebody that has some more information out there. By all means, bring it forward. We're humble. We want to learn.
Jubilees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the first year of the exodus of the children of Yasharah out of Mitzrayim, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that Elohim spake to Moshe, saying, Come up to me on the mount, and I will give you 2 tables of stone of the law and of the commandment, which I have written, that you may teach them.
All right, so here's an extra credit bonus question. In the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the 3rd month, what would happen around that time? What significant thing happens around that time? Almost exactly on that day, if not exactly that day. Let's see if somebody can figure it out. Anybody know? It's about the middle of the 3rd month. And it says day, so it might be talking about the daytime portion.
Is it a Pisa?
It's not Passover. Passover is the 14th day of the 1st month. This is the 3rd month. But that's close. That's a clue. No, it's not Pesach. It's not Juneteenth. Pesach is a close answer. It's warm. So again, the question is, what happens around the 16th of the 3rd month? All right. I'm not going to answer that question because we're going to answer that question in the class. But when we get back to it, I'm going to bring it up. But Pesach was the closest answer. It's not right, but it's the closest answer. All right, go ahead, brother.
Jubilees chapter 1.
And Shabbat Shalom to my lovely wife, Sister Tafar. Good to see you, sis.
Jubilees chapter 1 and verse 2. And Moshe went up into the mount of Elohim, and the glory of YAH abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moshe on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud, and the appearance of the glory of YAH was like a flaming fire on the top of the mount.
That's almost like an eruption, like a volcano erupting.
And Moshe was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights, and Elohim taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the law and of the testimony. And he said, Incline your heart to every word which I shall speak to you on this mount, and write them in a book, in order that their generations may see how I have not forgiven for all the evil which they have wrought in transgressing the covenant which I established between me and you for their generations this day on Mount Sinai.
So the 40 days and 40 nights, he was getting the laws, he was getting the statutes, he was getting the judgments, he was also getting the division of all the days of the law and of the testimony. So he was given the calendar, how things are going to work out, when you're going to do what. He was given Leviticus 23, these are your holy days, and this is your Shabbat, and this is the Jubilee year, and this is the Jubilee of Jubilee years. He's given all these things on the mount. Some of this information was passed down from generation to generation, but it was lost because man started to lose their way. So this is being given back to him in detail. Go ahead.
And thus it will come to pass when all these things come upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions, and they will recognize that I have been truly with them. And do you write for yourself all these words which I declare unto you this day? For I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land of which I swear to their fathers, to Abraham and to Yishak and to Jacob, saying, Unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey. And they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange gods, to gods which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation. And this witness shall be heard for a witness against them, for they will forget all my commandments, even all that I commanded them, and they will walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanness, and after their shame, and will serve their Elohim, and these will prove unto them an offense and a tribulation, and an affliction and a snare.
So he's letting them know that I'm going to give you these commandments, but eventually they're going to turn right back to forgetting all these laws, all these commandments, which we knew. That was in Jeremiah, I believe, chapter 16. I'm going to discontinue you from your heritage. This is our heritage. Our heritage is the law of righteousness, is the way of Yah. That is what makes us who we are. Israel, Yasharah, Israel, or whatever. Yasharallah. This is what makes us upright with Allah, upright with all, upright with Yah. Is these things that Moshe was given, the testimony, the laws, the calendar, the righteousness. And he said, we will go after the ways of the heathen, which now we using a Gregorian calendar. Now we keeping a Sunday worship. Now we worshiping their gods. Now we're doing the things that they do, which is vanity. Because it's man thought, man way, the way man want to do things, and not Yah's way. Go ahead.
And many will perish and will be taken captive and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinances and my commandments.
Because that's our strength. Our strength is not us. We're not the biggest, mightiest, strongest people in the earth. We are only that when his word is in us. When his word is in us, now we're unstoppable. Now we're the biggest, the strongest, the wisest, the most righteous, the most holy, the Kodashim at that point. But if we don't have that, then we the least of everybody. Go ahead.
Jubilees chapter 1 and verse 9. And many will perish, and they will be taken captive, and will fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my ordinances and my commandments, and the festivals of my covenants, and my Shabbats, and my holy place, which I have hallowed for myself in their midst, and my tabernacle and my sanctuary, which I have hallowed for myself in the midst of the land, that I should set my name upon it, and that it should dwell there.
I should set my character. I'm setting my name there. That's my character. I'm setting righteousness on this land. Jerusalem. I'm putting my character there. That means righteousness dwells there. That's the physical land. If you go into that land, I don't care what nation you are, and you don't abide by those things, the land is going to attack you. The weather is going to attack you. Now, we in the body are the land. We are Jerusalem. We are the body. It's the same thing. He said, here is where I'm going to place my character, my name here. And if we don't abide by those laws, those statutes, those judgments, then this body is going to reject us, rebel against us, and we're going to have disease and plagues and unfruitfulness in every category. Go ahead.
Jubilees chapter 1 and verse 10. And they will make to themselves high places and groves and graven images, and they will worship each his own graven image, so as to go astray, and they will sacrifice their children to demons and to all the works of the error of their hearts.
So we can stop right there, so we know this is where we went to do. Let's go to Jubilees chapter 6. We're going to go to chapter 6 because now chapter 6, Moshe is going to start going into. And by the way, Jubilees is nicknamed the Little Genesis because this is where the book of Bereshit came from. It came from Yobelem. Yobelem is the early scriptures that was used to comprise Bereshit. So they put the KJV together. They decided what they wanted to keep and what they didn't. It wasn't like it. They had a Torah sitting here and it had just this information. No. What happened was they decided when they put the Torah or whatever together, they decided what they wanted to add. The Torah is really just the first 5 books, but they added when they were putting that together what they wanted to put in there, what they didn't want to put in there. They took out stuff. And if you read, if you get a 1611 King James where it tells you how they constructed the King James Bible, they'll tell you that they got the scholars that decided what they want to use and what they didn't want to use. So we're at Yobelem, Jubilees, chapter 6, and we're going to start this at verse 1. Okay. We had a couple answers here. No, it's not the new year. Frida Cole, sorry. It is summer. That's good. That's a good answer. That's not exactly what happens at that moment, but yeah, you are preparing to enter into summer. So it's close. Because summer would start the 4th month. Because you have spring would be your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd month, and summer starts your 4th month. So you're about halfway. Halfway through the month prior to summer. Okay, so the new months does not start there, but you said Pentecost, Sis Tamika. That's the answer right there. Shabbat is around there. Now that doesn't happen on the 20th, but Shabbat is right there. Pentecost. So extra credit point for Sis Tamika Wilson. Yes, Pentecost is going to happen around that period of time, and we're going to show that. We're going to prove that and how you know. All right. Yobelem, Jubilees, chapter 6, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
And on the new moon of the 3rd month.
And that will be new month. Now, in his translation, they put new moon because when they see the word Chodesh, they applied that moon in there. Now we know YAH don't calculate things by the moon. He does not calculate his months by the moon. Moon and month is only the same derivative in English, but every other language, moon in Greek is selene. Month in Greek is mane. Completely different. Yeriach in Hebrew. Hodesh in Hebrew. Yeriach is moon. Hodesh is month. It's not the same. Go ahead, brother.
He went forth from the ark and built an altar on that mountain. And he made atonement for the earth, and took a kid and made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth. For everything that had been on it had been destroyed, save those that were in the ark with Noah. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar, and he took an ox and a goat and a sheep and kids and salt and a turtle dove and the young of a dove, and placed a burnt sacrifice on the altar, and poured thereon an offering mingled with oil, and sprinkled wine, and strewed frankincense over everything, and caused a goodly savor to arise acceptable to Yah. And Yahweh smelt the goodly savor, and he made a covenant with him that there should not be any more a flood to destroy the earth, that all the days of the earth, seed time and harvest, should never cease, cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night should not change, that you increase you and multiply upon the earth, and become many upon it, and be a blessing upon it. The fear of you and the dread of you will I inspire in everything that is on the earth and in the sea. And behold, I have given unto you all beasts and all winged things, and everything that moves on the earth, and the fish in the waters, and all things of food. As the green herbs, I have given you all things to eat. But flesh, with the life thereof, with the blood, you shall not eat. For the life of all flesh is in the blood, lest your blood of your lives be required. At the hand of every man, and at the hand of every beast will I require the blood of men.
So we understand that the blood contains the spirit. So when you're drinking blood or eating food with blood in it, you're getting the spirit of that animal in you. And now you're acting like an animal. You look at this new thing they call the coronavirus. They're saying it comes from bats. They say in China, these people eating bats. They eating bat soup. So this is how you eating the blood, and they ain't cooking that thing. They eating the blood of this animal, and now they getting this disease that they're passing on to folks. Go ahead. An animal eats blood. Humans cook food. No other animal cooks food. An animal, a beast, eats blood.
Jubilees chapter 6 and verse 8. Whoso sheds man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of Elohim made he man. And you, increase you and multiply on the earth. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh, and he made a covenant before Yah forever throughout all the generations of the earth in this month. On this account he spake to you that you should make a covenant with the children of Yasharal in this month upon the mountain with an oath, and that you should sprinkle blood upon them, because all the words of the covenant which Yah made with them forever. And this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, so that you should not eat any on any day any blood of beast or birds or cattle during all the days of the earth. And the man who eats the blood or of beast or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land. And do you command the children of Yasharal to eat no blood, so that their names and their seed may be before Yah continually.
All right. We know he's hearing no. There is no Israel. Jacob hasn't been born yet. Abraham hasn't been born. This is Noah. So he's hearing from Yah the story of the old times, the before time, all these things he's hearing about before we even became a nation. This is how we knew those things. People ask, well, how could Moshe write this book when he wasn't around? Because he's hearing this from Yah. We think he's spending 40 days and 40 nights for. Go ahead.
And for this law there is no limit of days, for it is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, so that they may continue supplicating on your behalf with blood before the altar. Every day, and at the time of morning and evening, they shall seek forgiveness on your behalf perpetually before Yah, that they may keep it and not be rooted out. And he gave Noah and his sons a sign that there should not again be a flood on the earth. He set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. For this reason, it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year, to renew the covenant every year. And this whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation to the days of Noah. 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years, and Noah and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years, to the day of Noah's death. From the day of Noah's death his sons did away with it unto the days of Abraham, and they eat blood. But Abraham observed it, and Yishak and Jacob and his children observed it up to your days, and in your days the children of Yasharal forgot it until you celebrated it anew on this mountain. And do you command the children of Yasharal to observe this festival in all their generations for a commandment unto them? One day in the year in this month they shall celebrate the festival. For it is the feast of weeks and the feast of first fruits. This feast is twofold and of a double nature, according to what is written and engraven concerning it. Celebrate it.
All right, so again, Feast of Weeks and Feast of First Fruits. When you have the Feast of Weeks, which is Shabbat, that is a Feast of First Fruits. But then you have 3 Feast of First Fruits. You have you have 4. You got Feast of First Fruits, which is an actual feast which happens after unleavened bread, but then you also have a first fruits offering in unleavened bread. So that's 2 right there. Then you have another one in Shabbat, which is Feast of Weeks, but it's a Feast of First Fruits because you're offering the first fruits of your wheat harvest. And then you have the 4th one, which is in Sukkah, in Tabernacles, where you're having another first fruits offering, which is a Feast of First Fruits. Go ahead.
Jubilees chapter 6 and verse 22. For I have written in the book of the first law, in that which I have written for you, that you should celebrate it in its season, one day in the year, and I explain to you its sacrifices, that the children of Yasharal should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month, one day in every year. And on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever.
All right, so on the new month of the 1st month, the new month of the 4th month, the new month of the 7th month, and the new month of the 10th month are days of remembrance. So on those months, you're given an extra day in those months because those are days of remembrance. Because what happens 1st month, 4th month, 7th month, and 10th month? What happens? What happens in what marker is that? Anybody? What marker is the 1st month, also on the 4th month, also on the 7th month, and also on the 10th month? Those are markers. We know that's the day, there's a day of remembrance, but what are they markers of?
Feast day.
Just think how the calendar is divided. How is it divided up?
Season.
Seasons. Those are markers of seasons. Absolutely, sis, Tamika. Seasons. Those are markers of seasons. The 1st month, Abib, that's the beginning of spring. The 4th month is the beginning of summer. The 7th month is the beginning of fall. The 10th month is the beginning of winter. So on those seasons, when we go into Enoch, we're going to see the days of remembrance are added on that because it takes the sun an extra day to go through gates. And you're like, what are gates? We're going to get into all that. So we're going to see how all these things, Jubilees, Enoch, Torah, all these things match perfectly. It's man's interpretation that makes things off. Go ahead, brother.
Jubilees chapter 6 and verse 24. And Noah ordained for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the new moon of the 1st month, he was bidden to make for himself an ark, and on that day the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the new moon of the 4th month, the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And on the new month of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend into them.
All right, so on the new month of the 4th month, the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. That means all the water, the abyss below, the waters below the waters, the water under the earth, those were closed. So it's no longer water being able to come out. And on the new month of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abyss of the earth were opened so that the water began to descend into them, to go back into the earth. Go ahead.
Verse 28:7. And on the new month of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad.
So when winter came, now you can see the tops of the mountains. Now you're actually seeing some kind of land.
And on this account, he ordained them for himself as feasts, for a memorial forever, and thus are they ordained.
So this is also why you have new month feasts, because these are all going to be new months, but these are seasons. So these seasons, he ordained the seasons where you were keeping a feast day. That's why we have new month feasts. But later, when Torah is given to us, it was extended out from, instead of just the seasons, now every month we're having those feasts. They call them new moon feasts. No, it ain't got nothing to do with the moon. It has everything to do with the month, because we're not worshiping the moon. The moon, again, just to break that down for anybody that might be new to us, the moon has a 29.5-day average. 12 moons averages to 29.5 days. So if you multiply 29.5 times 12, you're going to get 354 days. So 12 moons gives you 354 days. That's not enough days for a year. So that can't be your beginning of every month. And furthermore, if we go back to Genesis chapter 1, the moon,
Verse 28. And on account he ordained them for himself as feasts, for a memorial forever, and thus are they ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks, from one to another past their memorial, from first to the second, from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth.
All right, so 13 weeks. There's 13 weeks in each season. Go ahead. About 4 weeks. 4 times 3 is 12. You got 2 weeks, so you have 13. It's about 13 weeks for each season. 13 times 4 will give you all the seasons.
And all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days.
All right, so 52 weeks of days. Weeks are 7 days. 52 weeks of 7 days is going to give you 364. Go ahead.
And these will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets.
So now, when we hear heavenly tablets, we think somebody in heaven with a tablet chiseling in some tablet saying, this is what it is. Bring out the tablet in heaven. Here it is. Or a big asteroid with it all written on it, and YAH takes the asteroid. Here you go. Here. Nah, the heavenly tablets is the stars. This is written in the stars. They follow this order. It's going to follow this order. The sun, moon, stars, all of it are in concert together, and it follows this order. 52 weeks of years, and this will make us 52 weeks of days. This will make an entire year complete. This is how your year completes. This is what YAH said, and this is what the heavenly tablets confirm. I don't care what man says. I don't care what NASA, who's never been in space, says. I don't care, because I don't serve them. That's for the Gentiles. We deal with Torah. We deal with the scriptures. This tells us how we calculate our year. I could give a crap about Janus. I shouldn't even said that name. I could care less about the pagan god that they call their first month. Doesn't matter to me, because I don't serve them. Go ahead.
And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year. And command you the children of Yasharal that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts. For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day, nor disturb any feast.
So verse 31, there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year from year to year. There's no change. 364. Leap year is against the commandments. We have a leap year this year. I was doing the calendar looking. There's 29 days in February this year. That means there's 366 days on the Gregorian calendar this year. That's variable. Like I said, YAH don't change. YAH is yay or nay. That's Hebrew culture. They know, well, this year, no, yay or nay. So they have added extra days. And why would they want to change the calendar? Because if you change it just slightly, it mess up your feast days. Now, it's not being done on earth as it is in heaven. The devil will cause you not to worship YAH on the days that he picked. This is what they did. This is why they changed the Shabbat to a first day. Because they don't want you worshiping the day that YAH wants you to worship. They don't want you calculating the way YAH wants you to calculate. This is why this is not in Genesis. Why this is not in Leviticus. They want confusion so that you can worship their gods, which are these sun, moon, stars, and these other angels. Go ahead.
Jubilees chapter 6, verse 33. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order, and they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinance.
So if you following the moon, eventually you're going to be starting your new year in the winter. Or if you add an extra month, because the Jewish people have an Adar too, where they have a 13th month, which is not in years. There's 13 weeks, but they ain't 13 months. They adding up. Now you starting in the summertime. It's just going out of season. It's going backwards this way or going this way. You're off. This is the warning that we were given from way back.
All the children of Yasharal will forget and will not find the path of the years, and will forget new months and seasons and Shabbats, and they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto you, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance.
And it says right there, least we walk after the feasts of the Gentiles. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all their different pagan feasts that we walking after theirs. The January feast, all these different things, they got nothing to do with YAHs. That's vanity. There's different pagan gods that are over all these other nations, evil angels that are leading them away from YAH. So we can't follow them. We weren't designed to follow them. We were designed to follow YAH. They are designed to follow us. I wanted to share with you, I had a passenger that told me about a Korean artist that you may have heard of, that he does like hip hop R&B type flavor. And he is Jay Park. You heard of him?
No.
This bro, oh my goodness, he fired. You can look this Korean up, Jay Park. And I'm listening to his mix, and like every song sounded good. It sounded better than the radio stuff you hear on the radio. Because I'll put the radio on to let passengers hear, pop music or whatever. And I'm like, they got, these Koreans have our swag, and they're even speaking in English in a lot of the songs in English. And they got it down perfect. You wouldn't even know. You close your eyes and you look at it, you wouldn't even know what you're listening to a Korean. They follow us. They're built to follow us. The problem is we are following them, and that's why we're at the bottom.
Jubilees chapter 6 and verse 36. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon.
So it's interesting that you could translate this and put new moon, but then in the same chapter is telling you there are going to be people that's going to make observations of the moon and how it disturbs the seasons. How can it disturb the season if it's the beginning of a month? It disturbs the season because it comes in 10 days too soon in the year. Again, 10 days, 364 minus 10 is what? 354 days. It's 10 days too soon. You can't get a full year. But they figure we so stupid that we're going to change it to new moon and we're going to keep new moon, but yet in the same writing it's telling you don't follow the moon. It's 10 days too soon. But we don't think. We think Jewish people doing it is right. Surely these white people that are in our land, they're more righteous than us. So that's what it is. They're right. And my Hebrew brother who used to do a bunch of wickedness back in the day, he got to be wrong. The Most High can't use this brother to give any information. Or my brother here, you can't use them because they look like us. The white people over there in the land that the United Nations is supporting, they got to be right. And this is the brain screw that they have done on us. The Spirit was given to our nation. It wasn't given unto them. It was given to us. They have remnant. They got it says even the dogs eat the crumbs from under the master's table. So if they're humble, I'd rather have crumbs than nothing. At least they got that. But he gave us the food. He gave us the manna from heaven that came down. So we got to get rid of that low spiritual self-esteem and get back in our books. Because if we're going to find truth, it's going to be from us. Not that we can't get some truth from them, but the majority of the truth is going to come from his people because we are the witnesses. We are the ones who testify. You don't testify on what another person said. You testify on what you're saying. This is what I'm saying. Go ahead.
For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day, and they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean day with the holy, for they will go wrong as to the months and Shabbats and feasts and jubilees.
So when they're saying they will go wrong as to the months, when the month starts, and the Sabbathons, when you have certain days that are supposed to be treated as a Sabbath, but that will be off. Now you're treating a regular day like it's supposed to be a Sabbath day. Instead of having maybe a Tuesday is a Sabbathon that supposed to be treated as a Sabbathon. But now you're doing it on a Wednesday treated like a Sabbathon. And your feasts and your jubilees, all of this is off because you're looking at a moon and saying, wow, this is beautiful. Surely this has got to be what it is. No, it's not mathematically possible. But it has its place. It has its place. It is also used for something. Go ahead.
For this reason I command and testify to you that you may testify to them. For after your death your children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Shabbats and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh.
It will go wrong as to the new months and seasons and Sabbathons and festivals, and they'll eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. And this is what's happening right now, because we don't know the years. We don't know all this trickles down. And these people that don't know the years, don't know the months, don't know the festivals, don't know these things, they eating blood and pork and crabs and all these type of things because they after the manner of the Gentiles. Whereas we wouldn't do this. And we know Christ didn't change this. Because think about when the angel came to Peter, and said, rise, slay, and eat. Kepha was like, wait a minute, I've never ate anything common or unclean. What you trying to get me to eat these unclean animals? And this is after the death of Christ. So obviously, even after the death of Christ, they still wasn't eating these abominable things. All right, now let's get into the calendar. Let's go to Enoch, the book of Enoch. Chapter 71. Hanak. We're going to go to the book of Enoch. It's either chapter 71 or 70 or 72. It depends on how your book changes things around. Because again, these were fragmented, so when they put it together, sometimes one publisher will end a chapter here, another publisher will end a chapter there, but it's the same basic information. It's just how they broke it up. It was different sometimes. So we're going to go to the book of Enoch, chapter 71. And in this is when we're going to be given the courses of the sun. So we understand how things work. So it's actually Enoch chapter 72. All right, so what we're going to do as we get into Enoch is going to try to give us how the calendar is broken down. So you know how to calculate the months and know where you're at. So at this point, you're going to need to get you a 2020 calendar, a Gregorian calendar, so that you can start to count and calculate these holy days, because this is the point where we're going to start calculating. Okay, Brother Andre, you're asking about where can you learn the different names of the apostles. So you're talking about Peter versus Kepha. So you want to understand the Hebrew names. So it's very simple. All you want to do is get you a KJV with a Strong's Concordance in it. And when you go into the Greek and they give Matthew, or they give Peter or whatever, all you want to do is click on that Greek lexicon where it would say Matthew, and it'll have a Greek word, and it'll give you what his name is in Greek, and then it'll have an H something there, which will give you the Hebrew of that same name. And you'll see, oh, okay, Matthew is Mattathiah. You'll see Peter is Kepha. And you'll see Mark would have been Marcus. You'll see the different closer names, or James would be Yaakov. And that's where you can learn that. All right, so we're going to go to Enoch, and as we go through this, I'm going to go ahead and open this up so that you can start to see. And let me just check, make sure you can see the screen. You'll be able to see the diagrams that we're going to put up. All right, so we're in Enoch chapter 72, and I'm going to start putting up the diagram so you can see what we're looking at. It'll make a lot more sense. Go ahead, bro.
Enoch chapter 72 and verse 1. After this law I beheld another law of an inferior luminary, the name which is the moon.
Wrong one. Go to the previous chapter. So it would have been 71 in yours.
Okay.
And we're going to actually read. What does yours start with now?
The book of the revolutions of the luminaries of heaven.
Perfect. That's where we're at.
The book of the revolutions of the luminaries of heaven, according to their respective classes, their respective powers, their respective periods, their respective names, the places where they commenced their progress, and their respective months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, explained to me, he who conducts them the whole account of them, according to every year of the world forever, until a new work shall be effected, which will be eternal.
Just letting you know that this is going to be like this forever until there's a new heaven and a new earth, which is going to be forever at that point. So the forever, all this time from Enoch, this is what it is. And then the after, when we have a new heaven and a new earth, that's game time. That's it forever. New creation. So until that new creation, which is going to last forever, comes, this is what we are going to use. And notice the author here is saying, here's the calendar that I'm going to give to you that I got from the angel of YAH, Uriel. No other calendar system is the author claiming that they got this calendar from YAH. You got the Gregorian calendar, you got that from Pope Gregory. You got the Julian calendar, you got that from Julius Caesar. You got the lunar calendar, you got that from the pagan god, I don't even want to say the name. You got the solar calendar, you got from the other pagan god. So they're all coming from pagan gods, but this calendar, at least the author is claiming, I got this from YAH. So all the servants of YAH should be message, pay attention. Go ahead.
Verse 2. This is the first law of the luminaries. The sun and the light arise at the gates of heaven, which are on the east, and on the west of it at the western gates of heaven.
All right, so it rises in the east, sets in the west.
I beheld the gates whence the sun goes forth, and the gates where the sun sets, in which gates also the moon rises and sets. And I beheld the conductors of the stars among those who precede them. 6 gates were at the rising, and 6 at the setting of the sun. All these respectively, one after another, are on a level, and numerous windows are on the right and on the left sides of those gates.
All right, so what that looks like is you have the earth is like this, right? And then you have openings. Sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and they go up and down through, respectively, through the season. Rises in the east, sets in the west. Or if you're looking at your direction towards the camera, rising in the east, setting in the west. Like this. Then it comes back down. So now I'm going to show you the diagram of what that will look like, so it'll make more sense. All right, so let me flip this around so you can see it. All right, so here you see. All right, so here, let's see if I can get out and explain this. So here you have, these are the gates, and these are the holes and the openings that the sun goes through. And this would be your east, this would be your west. So it starts around the 4th gate, which would be around here somewhere. And it goes like this. Boom, doom, doom, up, 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 up to the peak. Now the days are getting shorter, 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 till you get to the lowest. Then it goes back up again, which is the end of winter, till it gets back to the new year. So this is what the diagram is. This is what they're explaining. So when we're start to read and understand, the sun is moving in this order. Up, up. Then it goes back down. East to west, east to west, east to west. That's why when you drive to work in the morning, you see during some parts of the year, the sun is shining directly in your face. Then as the year goes on, it's not shining, it's shining above you. And then you go back and it starts to come back down and starts to shine in your face because the angle of the sun, the declination, I think it's called, of how it declines and how it goes up. Go ahead, bro.
Enoch chapter 71 and verse 5. All these respectively, one after another, are on a level, and numerous windows are on the right and on the left sides of those gates. First proceeds forth that great luminary which is called the sun, the orb of which is as the orb of heaven, the whole of it being replete with splendid and flaming fire. Its chariot where it ascends, the wind blows. The sun sets in heaven, and returning by the north to proceed towards the east, is conducted so as to enter by that gate and illuminate the face of heaven. In the same manner it goes forth in the first month by a great gate. It goes forth through the 4th of those 6 gates, which are at the rising of the sun.
All right, so that just means in Abib, the first month, it goes through the major gate, which is the 4th gate. So the 4th gate of this, like I just showed you, the 4th gate is where you're going to get that diagram. Did I just close that? Oh, here it is. The 4th gate, the 4th one from the bottom, count 1, 2, 3, 4. That fourth one is the major gate. That's where the sun is going through first. Go ahead.
And in the fourth gate, through which the sun with the moon proceeds, in the first part of it, there are 12 open windows from which issues out a flame when they are at their proper periods. When the sun rises in heaven, it goes forth through this fourth gate 30 days, and by the fourth gate in the west of heaven on a level with it descends. During that period, the day is lengthened from the day, and the night curtailed from the night for 30 days, and then the day is longer by 2 parts than the night.
All right, what verse you on?
13.
All right, so I want you to understand it is now giving you the how many days are in the month. So this is talking about the fourth gate where the sun goes through. And this happens in the first month. In the first month, you have 30 days. So he's telling you you have 30 days in the first month. It's rising through that gate, getting ready to go through the next day. And it takes 30 days through the fourth gate. And during this time, it's going higher and higher and higher. It is now increasing how much daytime you have. So it's just like if you take a flashlight and you put it real close to something. You put it real close to something. If I take a flashlight and put it real close, it's only going to light up a small portion. But if I want to light up more of the area, then I pull the flashlight out higher, and now it's a more surface area. More surface area. That's why in the winter time, it feels like that sun is beaming directly in your eye when you're driving east, because the sun is right there. It's low, and as it gets later, then it's not shining directly in your eye because it's higher, so it's not blasting you in your eye. So 30 days east-west it takes, and it says here that during this time that what verse we on?
13.
Says the day is longer than the night by 1 night, so the day turns out to be exactly 10 parts and the night 8 parts. So how to calculate that, which we'll do that in another class because it's going to get a little bit complicated, but I'll explain. What that means is that the day, they're splitting the day into 18 parts. Now we split our day into 24 hours. A part is not equal to an hour, so there has to be a conversion. So when you have 10 parts day, and the night will be 8 parts. So that means the daytime is going to be longer than the night by 2 parts. And as the month goes on, it's going to change slightly until you get to the next month where you're going to have the day being even longer. Go ahead.
Verse 14. The day is precisely 10 parts and the night is 8. The sun goes forth through this fourth gate and sets in it, and turns to the fifth gate during 30 days, after which it proceeds from and sets in the fifth gate.
All right, so now the first month, 30 days. The second month, 30 days. And now it's going from the fourth gate all the way up to the fifth gate. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Then the day becomes lengthened by a second portion, so that it is 11 parts, while the night becomes shortened and it is only 7 parts.
All right, so that means out of 18 parts, 11 of those parts in the day are going to be daylight portions, and 7 portions of it is going to be nighttime portions. So the day is getting longer. This is why in the fourth gate, that's spring, when the day is becoming longer, because the day is springing longer than the night, and it's going to continue in this fashion. Go ahead.
Verse 17. The sun now returns to the east, entering into the sixth gate, and rising and setting in the sixth gate 31 days on account of its signs.
All right. So now you're on the last month of spring. You're in late spring. This is the third month. The third month now has 31 days. So this is the order of the seasons. Every season, the first month is 30 days. The second month of that season is 30 days. And the last day, the last month of that season is going to be 31 days. Because like what we read earlier in Jubilees, you have the day of remembrance on each of these seasons. So when these seasons come, you got an extra day because the sun takes an extra day to go from one gate into the next gate. Because to go through there's that imaginary little line. So it has to cross that line to go into the next gate. So it takes a day to cross that line to go into the next gate. So now you're in the third month of spring. It's 31 days. Go ahead.
At that period, the day is longer than the night, being twice as long as the night, and becomes 12 parts.
All right. So now in that day, the day is twice as long as the night.
But the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. Then the sun rises up, that the day may be shortened and the night lengthened. And the sun returns towards the east, entering into the sixth gate, where it rises and sets for 30 days.
All right. So what you're having there is now you have the sun going into the sixth gate. So starting the fourth gate, fifth gate, and the sixth gate. And during that sixth gate is where you have the longest day, the longest daytime portion, because you are getting into your well, it's not the longest. It's starting to get extra long. Go ahead.
When that period is completed, the day becomes shortened precisely 1 part, so that it is 11 parts, while the night is 7 parts.
That's fall. Now you're going into, wait a minute. When the days are completed, the day decreases exactly by 1 part and becomes 11 part and night 7. So now you're into your summer, but it's reaching a point where now the daytime portion is decreasing and the nighttime portion is increasing, but it's still more daytime than it is nighttime. Now, when you eventually get to the point where the night starts to get longer than the daytime portion, that's when you get to fall, because now the day is falling. Go ahead.
Then the sun goes from the west and from that sixth gate and proceeds eastwards, rising in the fifth gate for 30 days and setting again westwards in the fifth gate of the west.
All right, so it's going through the sixth gate. Goes through the sixth gate, fourth, fifth, sixth, fifth. So it goes up. Fourth gate, first month. Fifth gate, second month. Sixth gate, third month. Fourth month, it's still in the sixth gate, but it got to come back down. Sixth gate. Then he goes back again to the fifth gate. So that's where we're on, the fifth gate. And I know that this is a bit confusing because this is not what we have been taught. So what you have to do is go back to this class and go over this several times and write these things down, graph it until it makes sense to you, because it took us several years. We kind of understood it, but it took us several years to really get a good understanding of how this works, because this is not how we are taught to look at things. All of this is basically saying is that you can tell by how much daytime and how much nighttime you have, and that's going to tell you what month you're in. And if you be really precise and you use calculations, you could even tell what day in the month you're in, because it's equally descending or equally ascending. And all you have to look at is, okay, is the day getting longer or is it getting shorter? So after you track a couple days, okay, I know the day is getting longer. Okay, so if the day is getting longer, it's either this point or this point. Is it hot outside or is it cold outside? It's hot outside. Okay, so I know it's this particular month.
At that period, the day becomes shortened 2 parts and is 10 parts, while the night is 8 parts. Then the sun goes from the fifth gate as it sets in the fifth gate of the west and rises in the fourth gate for 31 days on account of its signs setting in the west.
All right, so if it's 31 days, what does that mean? Where is it in the season? The beginning of the season, the middle season, or end of the season?
the end of.
Absolutely. At the end of every season, you have 31 days. So when we go back to go ahead and start calculating this calendar, which we're going to do next, the pattern is a bib, 30 days. Second month, 30 days. Third month, 31 days. Fourth month, 30 days. Fifth month, 30 days. Sixth month, 31 days. Seventh month, 30 days. Eighth month, 30 days. Ninth month, 31 days. 10th month, 30 days. 11th month, 30 days. 12th month, 31 days. That is how you calculate your calendar. So all you need to find out is, when is Rosh Hashanah? When does the year start? When the year starts, 30 days in that month. 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. That's how you get your order. Go ahead, bro.
At that period, the day is made equal to the night, and being equal with it, the night becomes 9 parts, and the day 9 parts. Then the sun goes from that gate as it sets in the west, and returning to the east proceed by the third gate for 30 days, setting in the west at the third gate. At that period, the night is lengthened from the day during 30 mornings, and the day is curtailed from the day during 30 days, the night being 10 parts precisely, and the day 8 parts.
All right, and for this class, I'm not going to go into the mathematics of the days and the parts, because I'll take a special class for that, where we're focused specifically on those parts, and I'll show the graphs of how we can graph it, and so it make more sense to you. But if we go into all that detail right now, it's going to be overwhelming, and it's going to be a very, very long class. Go ahead.
The sun now goes from the third gate as it sets in the third gate in the west, but returning to the east, it proceeds by the second gate of the east for 30 days. In like manner also it sets in the second gate in the west of heaven. At that period the night is 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. Then the sun goes at that time from the second gate as it sets in the second gate in the west, but returns to the east, proceeding by the first gate for 31 days, and sets in the west in the first gate.
All right, so again, we're in the first gate now, and it says for 31 days. So if you have 31 days in a month, then where are you in the season? The beginning of the season, the middle of the season, or the end of the season?
It's the end of the season.
Again, the end of the season. I keep asking the same question, not because anybody is slow, but this is how YAH teaches. YAH tells us the same thing over and over and over and over. Our parents used to do the same thing. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you wash behind you. Yeah, I know, Mom. I know, Mom. Did you wash your hands? Oh, crap. Forgot to wash my hands. So this is how YAH does that. Repeats over and over and over and over again. Go ahead.
At that period, the night is lengthened as much again as the day. It is 12 parts precisely, while the day is 6 parts. The sun has thus completed its beginnings, and the second time goes around from these beginnings. Into that gate it enters for 30 days, and sets west in the opposite part of heaven. At that period, the night is contracted in its length a 4th part, that is 1 portion, and becomes 11 parts. The day is 7 parts.
All right, so what that just means is you went from 4th, 5th, 6th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. It's completed it. Now it's going back up. 1st, because it's all the way at the bottom. It's all the way here at the bottom. Now it has to go back up. It's going back up through the 1st, and now we're getting ready to go back up into the 2nd. Go ahead.
Then the sun returns and enters into the second gate of the east. It returns by these beginnings 30 days in rising and setting. At that period, the night is contracted in its length. It becomes 10 parts, and the day 8 parts. Then the sun goes from the second gate and sets in the west, but returns to the east and rises in the east, and the third gate, 31 days, setting in the west of heaven.
All right, so it goes through the second gate. Now it's going through the third gate. 31 days. That's the end. That's the last month of winter. The day is starting to get longer, but the day is still shorter than the night. But the day is getting longer because you're getting ready to go to spring, where the day is now springing longer than the night. Go ahead.
At that period, the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts, and the night is equal with the day. The year is precisely 364 days.
So this is called the equilux. This is the last day of winter. This is your sign that New Year is coming. Because when you have exactly equal day and equal night coming out of winter time, that is your last year. That is day 364. And because the next day is spring, because now it's not equal day and equal night. Now the next day is, the day is a little bit longer than the night. That's spring. If you're starting your new year when you still have equal day and equal night, then you're still in winter. And this is the problem with the moon. When you use the moon, you're either going to start where the day has been longer than the night. You're starting way into spring. That means you're starting late. Now, when you're starting it and the day is still shorter than the night, you're starting in winter time. That's going to mess up everything. Your calculation is off, and it just takes one day off. You messed up your entire calendar. Now, what man likes to do, man loves to worship the stars and the sun and the moon and all that. There's a thing called the equinox, which is equal night. Equilux means equal day, equinox means equal night. The equinox is not the portion of equal day and equal night. You can Google this. You can look this up. They'll tell you. They're not even hiding that. All the equinox means is that the sun leaves a perfect shadow across the equator of the earth, where top portion of the earth is in sunlight, the bottom portion of the earth is in darkness. That's not what Enoch is saying. He's saying equal portions of day and equal portions of night. He didn't say there's a perfect shadow across the earth. That's man. Man says, look how beautiful this is. Look at how everything, the stars align, everything is, it's just a beautiful moment, which happens about 3 to 4 days after the equinox. What a beautiful moment. All the ancients, worshiped the sun on this day because they saw this great sign. So we're not to worship anything. At the end of the day, those are signs for us, but we follow the sign that YAH gave us. That's what we're supposed to be following. Go ahead.
Enoch 71 in verse 43. The lengthening of the day and night and the contraction of the day and night are made to differ from each other by the progress of the sun. By means of this progress, the day is lengthened and the night is greatly shortened. This is the law and progress of the sun, and is turning when it turns back, turning during 60 days and going forth. This is the great everlasting luminary, that which he names the sun forever and ever. This also is that which goes forth a great luminary, and which is named after its peculiar kind, as Elohim commanded. And thus it goes in and out, neither slackening nor resting, nor running on in its chariot by day and by night. It shines with a seventh portion of light from the moon, but the dimensions of both are equal.
So it's also telling you the moon and the sun are the exact same size. That's what Enoch is telling us. So that means that lie that is telling us that the sun is 50 billion miles, that's BS. How else are you going to get these eclipses? If you got something like this and they cross over each other, how is it going to block the other one if they're so far away? They try to say, how you can mathematically make it block each other if you say that the sun is so huge that it's so far away that that's what's blocking it. The moon is blocking it because it's so far away, but that's not true. Not according to Enoch. The sun and the moon are the same exact size. Now, that would imply that the sun is outside the firmament. And it's not. It's inside the firmament. It's inside that dome. That's how we're able to do that, those eclipses and all that type of stuff. So how Enoch know that? Why would man even think to ponder the sun and the moon being the exact same size? No man is going to just think that. Somebody told him that. That's what the angel Uriel told him. But man wants to create this whole globe and space theory that they have to make up a lie in order to make it make sense. So now we're going to get into trying to calculate the calendar. All right, so first, before we do that, I'm going to show you this diagram here. This diagram here will explain what Enoch is saying. So here you have the equilux. Equilux is right here. So you're coming out of winter. You have equal day and equal night. It's 12 hours day, 12 hours night. Happens right there. The next day is Rosh Hashanah. New year, Abib, day one. The first year. In there, you have 30 days. Days to get through this gate here. This is the fourth gate. 30 more days to get through the second month. 31 days to get through late spring. Then the next day, you have summer. 30 days the first week of summer. 30 days the second week of summer. 31 days for late summer. Then here, you're going to have, again, equal day and equal night. Close to it. Not exactly, but close to it. Equal day and equal night. That's called an autumn equilux. Here, the day is falling shorter. Now the day is falling shorter. The night starts to get longer because you have fall. That's why it's called fall. The days are falling shorter than the night. Boom, boom, boom. 30 days. 30 days. This is your second month of autumn. 31 days. Now you're here to the 10th month. The 10th month is right here. And these are your solstices. Now you have 10th month, which that's why they worship Christmas around here, because you have the winter solstice where you have the longest night of the year. But here, after this time, now the night is starting to get shorter, but it's still longer than the day, but it's getting shorter. So you have 30 days, and now you have 31 days in this last month here. So now that you have this last month, it takes 31 days to get through the 12th month. Then after that 31st day here, now you're getting into your new year. The equilux happens right here. So the problem is, if you're using the moon to calculate, this whole thing takes 364 days to go through this whole thing. But if you're doing 354 days, then you're stopping about here, 10 days in winter. So now you're starting your new year in winter, but spring hasn't come yet. So now you got 354 more days. You're moving further back in winter because it takes 364 to go through the whole thing. So if you're already starting 10 days, it's 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. So after 3 years, you in mid-winter starting. Then another 3 years, you back here. Then another 3 years, you're here. So every year you're moving further and further back. So eventually you will be starting in summer. It don't add up. So what the Jewish people did is they added another month. They added what they called an Adar 2 because they realized, wait a minute, we're moving backwards. So they added an Adar 2. So they said, well, we're going to add another month and we're just going to make it start right here. So now you got 364 days brings you here. They going 384 days. So now they starting here. So now you're using the moon again. It takes 364 days to get from any point back to that point. But you're using 354 days. So you, on that year, you decided you're going to add an extra month just for the hell of it. You threw in an extra month. So you're starting your year here, and then you're going 354 days. 354 days is not going to get you where you need to be. Now you're moving backwards again. Don't add up. You're starting in winter. So this is why you need 364 days to give you a full year. If you do 365, you messed up. All you did is messed up once. Then this year, they got 366 years. So it's messing it up even more. So that means in 4 years, you got 4 days extra and a leap year. So that's 5 days your calendar is off every 4 years. So that means in 7 years, you're going to be 1 week behind in the calendar. All right, so now we're going to get a 2020 calendar. Let's get a 2020 calendar and we're going to go ahead and start calculating. Pull up the 2020 calendar. I'll blow it up. All right, so you have your 2020 calendar right here. So what we need to start, we need to understand when was the last month? December. When was the last new month that happened in the month of December? That would have been December 10th. So from December 10th, it's 30 days you have to count. Because remember, we're not saying because December is the last month of the Gregorian calendar, there's 31 days. That's not true. December is the 10th month. So December 8th would start the 10th month. That's why it's called December. Des means 10th. A decimal is a 10th of something. Deci or deca is 10. So December 10th started your 10th month. It starts winter. So if you go back and you look at December of 2019, the 10th, this is going to give you the new month for January. So December 10th, December 11th, December 12th, December 13th, December 14th, December 15th, December 16th, December 17th, December 18th, December 19th, December 20th. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Now you're getting into January. So now you can go to January. January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, January 4th, January 5th, January 6th, January 7th, January 8th. That gave you 30 days. So those 30 days will be the last day of the 10th month. That means January 9th is your new month of the 11th month. So you want to get your calendar and you want to circle January 9th on your calendar. So circle January 9th on your 2020 calendar. And you want to put 11th month. 11th month. Let me see if there's any questions real quick. 11th month. All right, so your 11th month starts January 9th. But understand the nighttime portion of January 9th. Because our calendar day starts at 9th. So January 9th, when the sun is completely gone and you see the stars, that is new month of the 11th month. So January 9th. Starts your 11th month. So your 11th month, how many days are in your 11th month? Anybody? How many days are your 11th month? So you have 30 days in your 11th month. So we're going to count January 9th being day 1. We're going to count 30 days. And then after you count 30 days, the next day, that's going to be the beginning of your 12th month. So let's count that. We're going to count 30 days.
Wait, shouldn't it be 31?
No.
If
this is the 11th month. Remember the 12th month.
Wait, so from December to January, that wasn't the...
No. Remember, Deci is 10. That's the 10th month. So the 10th month is going to have 30 days. The 11th month is going to have 30 days. So we're in the 10th month. So I'm sorry, you're correct. So I'm sorry. December 9th, January 9th is your 11th month. So we're starting with January 9th. That begins your 11th month. You're going to have 30 days. So we're going to count 30 days. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
I got February 8th.
February 8th. So you're going to circle February 8th. That is going to be your 12th month. That's going to be when your 12th month starts. So the Rosh Hashanah for the 12th month is February 8th. And that will be a Shabbat, the night ending Shabbat. So Saturday night, February 8th, is going to be the beginning of your 12th month. And if you look at 2019 calendar, all these new months and all these holy days are always going to be on the same weekly day of the week. So if last year your new month of the 12th month was a Saturday night, it's going to be a Saturday night this year. And next year is going to be a Saturday night and everything, because 364 is equal. It breaks down to 52 weeks, 7-day weeks, 364 days in a year. So it's always going to be the same weekly day, but it'll be a different Gregorian calendar day, number day, because they calendar floats. It's 365 one year, 366 the next day. So now that we're in the 12th month, how many days are supposed to be in the 12th month?
31.
31 days, because this is the end of winter. So you're going to count 31 days with February 8th being the first day. So February 8th will be day 1. February 9th will be day 2 until you get 31 days. Then the next day, that is your Rosh Hashanah. That is your new year. That is Abib. So let's count 31 days. All right. So what day are we getting for Abib?
March 10th.
March 10th. So March 10th is Tuesday night. Again, remember I said 4th day? Your new year is always going to start on the 4th day, because on the 4th day, according to Bereshit chapter 1, this is when we were given the calendar. The calendar is in the sky. Those are the heavenly tablets. But this doesn't change the order of the days of the week, because Yah didn't say, because I gave you the heavenly tablet, now I'm going to make the next day the first day of the week. No, he made it the first day of the year, not the first day of the week. He never changed the order of the week. He just said, this is when your calendar starts. That's why your new year is always going to be the 4th day, which starts on our Gregorian calendar Tuesday night. If you go back to the Qumran calendar, which is the oldest calendar we have, Hebrew calendar, you're going to see it starts on the 4th day. And I'll show you what that looks like. This is the Qumran. This is what was found with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And Qumran, because they didn't have Gregorian, they weren't using that Gregorian calendar. So they didn't use the pagan names. So if you look at the Qumran, if you look here, all it says is Abib for the month. He don't say January or March or anything. It just says Abib. Then you have the second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, so forth and so on until you get to the 12th month. Because the only name given by Yah for a month was Abib. And look when the first day of Abib is. First day, second day, third day, fourth day. The fourth day. So we didn't make that up. Even they understood. These are the people that left Jerusalem because Jerusalem was run by the Greeks. And they were forcing the Greek calendar on us. So they left and went to the wilderness so that they could preserve Yah's laws. So fourth day. This on our calendar is a Tuesday night because the day starts at night. And when you look here, how they had the holy days, when we go through here, it matches the same days that we're about to calculate. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to go ahead and get all the new months. And we're going to circle all these so that we have the calendar. Once we have the new months, now we can go into Leviticus chapter 23 and we can calculate holy days. But we're going to do that in another class. Right now, all we're trying to get is division of months and years. All right. So March 10th is New Year, Rosh Hashanah, head of the year, not the seventh month. That's not the head of the year. That's when we have atonement. That's the seventh month. That's Jewish doctrine. It don't work that way. As Abib is his new year. He don't say nothing about your new year being in the cold season. So how many days do we have in Abib? 30. So let's start at March 10th, and we're going to count 30 days with March 10th being the first day and see where we get. All right, so let's see if we have anybody. All right, so go ahead and comment if you know what day that's going to be. In April. What day in April is going to be the new month of April? Let's see if we can get a, hold your comment. Let's see if we can get a viewer. If we have a viewer that can get this right. So we know there's 30 days with March 10th being Abib. 30 days in Abib. What day is going to be in April going to be the new month of the second month? All right, so we got one person that says April 9th. We have Frida Cole, April 9th. Sis Yahana Yashara, April 9th. Anybody else? All right, so it looks like we got April 9th. What day do you have?
The 9th, April 9th.
All right, so we got 3 people with April 9th. Absolutely correct. Good job, everybody. April 9th. And it sounds easy, but it's not. This thing will get confusing because if you count 30 days and then you start that day thinking that it's so easy to screw this up. And Sister Farr, April 9th, absolutely. It can mess you up. Even when I do the calendar, I'll mess up and I have to go over it multiple times because it's so easy to mess up one day and it screws everything up. So everybody has this correct. April 9th. That is Rosh Chodesh of the second month. April 9th. So how many days are in the second month?
30.
30 days. Absolutely. There's 30 days in the second month. All right, so in case somebody is confused of how we calculate this, I'm gonna pull up the calendar and we're gonna look at it again. And we're gonna make sure that we get 30 days. So April 9th will be Rosh Chodesh of the second month. So we're gonna do 30 days again. So April 9th, day 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So what day is going to be the beginning of the third month? April 9th. That is the beginning of your third month. Third month. And that goes back to what we asked about earlier. What happens in the middle of the third month? When we calculate the holy days, you're going to find you count from the third month, halfway through the month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 is half of 30. The Saturday the 23rd. That begins the Shabbat. That's halfway through the third month. So the 16th day portion is like the 24th, 25th, around there. So it's close. It's close. So they would have been in the daytime portion of the 16th day would be Shabbat. So that's why I was saying what happens in the middle of about the middle of the 15th, 16th, what happens in the middle of the third month? Pentecost. And how you know? Because when you calculate the first fruits, 7 Shabbat shall be complete after your first fruits, and you're going to have Shabbat right after that. All right, so you got the beginning of the third month. The third month is the last month of spring. That begins the last month. So if it's the last month of spring, how many days are in there?
31.
31 days. Absolutely. So now we have 31 days. So go ahead and count your 31 days and see what we get.
What do we get for second one? 30 days.
All right. So the second month we began on April 9th. That's the beginning of your second month. 30 days from that brings you to May 9th. That's the beginning of your third. So we're going to start with May 9th, and we're going to get 31 days. So what day in June do we have for the beginning of summer?
June.
Absolutely. June 9th is going to be the beginning of your fourth month. So circle June 9th. All right, we're going to start moving quickly through this. So June 9th is the beginning of your fourth month, which means that fourth month, first month of summer, you're going to have 30 days. So with June 9th being the first day, let's count 30 days. And the following day after that is going to be the beginning of your fifth month. So what day does that give us? And we got it right. Everybody got it right. June 9th. Absolutely. All right, so where are we at now? In July. What day is that? Beginning of the fifth month. Go ahead and comment if you got it. Absolutely. July 9th. July 9th is the beginning of your fifth month. So now, how many days are in the fifth month? That's right. Absolutely, Frida Cole. All right, so we're going to count there 30 days for the fifth month. So what day in August? We're arriving in August for the beginning of the 6th month.
I got August 8th.
August 8th is going to be the beginning of your 6th month. So the 6th month is going to have how many days? 31 days, because it's the end of summer. So we're going to count 31 days with August 8th being the first day. You guys got it. You guys are better than me. I'm not good with math. So y'all sharp. Because my first few times looking at it, I had to do it like several, I don't know what. I'm just blind when it comes to math. And I even did the holy day calendar. I messed it up, so I had to keep going back because for whatever reason, math just don't work good with me. So I have to literally, where it says any man that thinks he's wise, let him be a fool. Well, I didn't have to try to be a fool. I was just not wise. So I just had to come at it like I don't know how to count. And that's how I was able to make it right, because I'm just not good with math. But I'm not stupid. I can count to 30 and 31. But y'all are sharp. Y'all got it. So August 8th is going to have 31 days. We're going to start with 31 days. August 8th being the first day, we're going to count 31 and see what day we're going to get in September. That's going to be Yom Teruah. That's going to be trumpets, the beginning of the 7th month. So what day is going to be the Sabbathon? Is going to be double what they call high Sabbath. What day in September is going to be the beginning of the 7th month? What day you got, bro?
September 8th.
September 8th. September 8th, that is going to be your beginning of your 7th month. Now we have the beginning of the 7th month. We're going to have 30 days. So we're going to count 30 days beginning with September 8th. And we're going to find out what day in October is going to be the beginning of the 8th month. And we should be arriving at October the 8th. October the 8th is going to be your new month for the 8th month. And the 8th month is going to have 30 days. So circle October the 8th. That is your new month of the 8th month. And you're going to count with October 8th being the first day. And you're going to keep moving. October the 8th, you're going to count 30 days with October the 8th being the first day. And that's going to tell us when the 9th month starts. Now look, Nove, 9, Octa, 8, Septi, 7. August is called, it would have been a 6 number, but instead they took July and August, they named it after the pagan god, Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. That's why you have 31 days in both of those months. A little history is what they had to do in order to give 31 days to both. They had to steal a day from another month. And the month they chose to steal it from was February. That's why February got 28 days. Because they had to take a day from that to add it to August. To give Augustus 31 days and to give Julius 31 days. Because they didn't want to give one of the gods less than the other god. That's why you have 31 days on both July and August, when that doesn't add up. So that's going to bring you to November the 7th. November the 7th is going to begin your 9th month. Now the 9th month is how many days? 31 days. So from November the 7th, with the 7th being the first day, you're going to count 31 days. And that's going to give you your December 10th month. Deci, 10. So what day in December is going to be the beginning of the 10th month? Let's see if the viewer's on point. Any viewers, what day in December is going to be the new month starting the 10th month? New month starting the 10th month. December 8th. Absolutely. So there you have it. December 8th is going to be the beginning of your 10th month. That's going to be the beginning of your winter. And you have concluded all your new months for the year. So now that you have that and you have your new months, now you can go to Leviticus 23 and you could calculate your holy days. All right, so now you can go calculate your holy days. So it's about 1 o'clock. You want to go ahead and just go straight into the holy days? Or you want to say that for another class? What's the spell you do, brother?
What else do we have?
The holy days, basically. That's all we're going to go. You want to end it here, or do you want to just go through the holy days?
How long is the YouTube?
Let me check the YouTube, see if it's still up. Yeah, the YouTube is going strong. We had 2 hours, so YouTube is still going strong. Let's save that. Let's save that for. We'll go ahead, which is the 4th day. We'll go ahead and go into how you're going to take that. So save your calendar. Save your calendar that you marked up, because now you have your new months. And then we're going to take that calendar knowing that March 10th is Abib. We're going to show you how to calculate Passover, the 14th of Abib. Unleavened bread, the 15th of Abib, day 1. The 21st day of Abib is going to be the last day of unleavened bread. The 15th of the 3rd month is going to be your Pentecost. Then the first day of the 7th month is your trumpets, Teruah. The 10th day of the 7th month is your atonement. Then the 15th day of the 7th month is your Teruah, day 1. And then the 22nd of your 7th month is going to be your Sukkah. And then also your first fruits is going to be the first Saturday after you've had your unleavened bread. That Saturday night is your first fruit. So we'll go over that and we'll go through that, and we'll go through those holy days, because people are calculating the holy days differently. But at the end of the day, it's right there in Torah. It tells us exactly how to do it. If you remove what man has taught us and actually read what is written, get rid of that church mentality, and right back into you a Hebrew, Yah has given you a spirit, and trust your word, you're going to easily come up with your holy days. Then we'll also, because we need a little more time for the holy days, because we're going to have to debunk the Jewish way of doing things. So the Jewish people have first fruits inside of unleavened bread, and that's impossible. It can't be according to law. So we'll go over that, Yah's will, on Bible study this Tuesday. And before we close out, do we have any questions? Any last questions on how to calculate the new month and the new year? Or does anybody still believe that the moon is what you're supposed to use? All right. Okay, it says, why did we start December 10th of 2019 as the first day of the 10th month? And the reason being is December 10th, you have, if you calculate the 30, 30, 31, December 10th is where we arrive on the Gregorian calendar. But what the problem is, the Gregorian calendar has 365 days. So if we're ending at 364 and then they have 365 on theirs, that means December 31st is going to be different because they're adding an extra day. So if we have December 10th, that's with 365. Now, why it goes back 2 days is because you have 366 days this year. So it changes. So that's why it's floating backwards. So it's going to float backwards, but then eventually we have to get to a point where there has to be some kind of correction. So that's why it was December 10th last year. Remember, the Gregorian calendar uses 365 days instead of 364 days. All right. Any other questions? And how we address that floating of the 365 versus 366 and 364, that's where it's still a little unclear. But all we know is YAH said 30, 30, 31, 30, 30, 31. So that's what we do. We count that. We don't care what man does. And all we just did is we tried to translate the Gregorian calendar into a Hebrew calendar. All right. So that's all we're going to do today. Let's go ahead and close in prayer. All remove the head coverings, and all sisters pray with their heads covered. And Shabbat Shalom, Brother Melvin Shelley. Good to see you, family. And we're going to face towards Jerusalem, which is eastward for us. Brother West, can you close us out in prayer, please?
Abba, Father, YAH, covenant Elohim of Abraham, Yishak, and Yaakov. We thank you, Father, YAH, for us into another one of your Shabbats, Father, YAH. We ask you, Father, YAH, that the information that went out in class today, Father, YAH, we pray that it was truthful and in line with your word, Father, YAH. And we ask you that if there was anything false or anything untrue, Father, YAH, that you reveal it to us, Father, YAH, so that we can repent and correct ourselves, Father, YAH. But we thank you, Father, YAH, for giving us such mercy, Father, YAH, so that we can at least so that you've allowed us to at least try to keep your holy days to the best of our ability, Father, YAH, and to try to follow your calendar to the best of our ability, Father, YAH. We ask, Father, YAH, that you strengthen us, Father, YAH, going forward, and that you keep us in your paths, Father, YAH. For we know our hearts and our flesh do fail at times, Father, YAH, but we ask that you keep us in your way and chasten us when necessary, Father, YAH. But gently, Father, YAH, for we're simply trying to follow you, Father, YAH, and do your will, Father, YAH. In Yahshua HaMashiach's holy mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.